Hey guys, today I wanted to make a video all about my all-time favorite brushes. These are my holy grail, can't live without, take everywhere traveling with me. I am obsessed with brushes. I have a bunch, so it's not gonna be too long, but I'm gonna do something different than you might have seen in any video. I don't know if someone's done this before, I'm sure they have. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about each individual brush, and I'm gonna explain why I like it, kind of what it does, and then as I'm talking, I'm gonna show you me using it, and I create this makeup look right here. So I'm gonna show you what each individual brush does, what the point of it is, etc. So let's get going. First and foremost, I wanna state, no hate to Morphe at all. But I know that there's kind of a stigma right now going around with Morphe. People don't want to hear about it. So you will be happy to know that there is not one Morphe brush in here. Every single product in this video that I use will be linked in the description of this video, so you guys can click on those and buy from the link if you want. Some may be affiliate links, so I may get a percentage of the sales of those. I just want to be upfront, so if you guys are weird about that, you guys can just Google the brushes and buy them yourself. But it doesn't cost you anymore, it just helps me out. So totally up to you. By the way, this video is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. Nobody knows I'm making this. Some of these products were given to me for free, some I bought. It's just the way life works, you know. All right, I'm just gonna jump right into it. So the brush that I first started off with for my foundation is this Furless Cosmetics CB3 brush. This brush is so densely packed, so incredibly soft. When Furless Cosmetics first sent this to me, I was blown away at just how soft and incredibly amazing these brushes are. Along with the Furless Cosmetics CB3, I also love the CB2, which is a little smaller and rounder, and they're both equally as dense. The bristles are incredibly soft. And as you can see here, I'm applying my foundation with the CB3 and it just glides on like a dream. You can kind of pat it onto your face. You can brush it across. I don't have any brush strokes when I use this because they're so densely packed that it's not, you know what I mean, streaky brush strokes. And I absolutely love these. Another thing about these is they are cruelty-free, vegan, synthetic. So if you're looking for really good brushes in that range, Furless Cosmetics is next level. I absolutely love them. The reason I even found out about Furless Cosmetics is because I woke up one morning and they had written an article about me, and they said things about you that you only wish people thought about you. Do you know what I mean when I say that? Like the kindest things that people could say about you in a paragraph. I'll actually link it in the description of this video so you guys could read it if you want. It's just so kind. And it was written a couple of years ago, and they first reached out to me, like, hey, we want to send you brushes. And ever since then, Furless Cosmetics has been like my ride or dies. Like, I love them so much. They're an Australian-based brand, and what they stand for is amazing. They're an amazing company. I just freaking love Furless, okay? Most of the time I apply my foundation with a beauty blender or a Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. So you don't see me using the Furless brushes all that often, but if I'm in a super rush, I don't have time to wet my beauty blender, those are the brushes that I go to. If I am doing my concealer, either on a client or if I'm doing it on myself, and again, I don't have my beauty blender, but I wanna get the concealer on, and then I can sort of pat it out either with a dry beauty blender or my finger, what have you. I love the Furless Cosmetics Pro 8E brush. It pats the concealer in really easily. It's the right shape for my under eye, and there's not much more to it than that. It's got a long handle. It's just a good brush, and I feel comfortable using it. To apply my powder, I've been loving the Time 104 brush. This one is relatively new for me. Damn it if these aren't awesome. They're cruelty-free, synthetic, vegan as well. These brushes are instantly some of my favorites. The design of them is amazing. They have the marble handle. Really, really nice to use. You'll see multiple Time LA brushes in here because they did something to me. It's the first time I used them, I was like, oh, yep, these are in my permanent collection, and they've come with me both times that I've traveled since getting them, and that says something. If I bring it with me when I travel, that means it's really good. So I use this to either do my blush or do my bronzer, or I also use it in this video to pack on the powder underneath my under eyes, sort of powder all over my face. A lot of times you'll see people using a really big brush to put powder all over their face. Not my favorite. It's not like I don't like it, I just feel like I don't get as much precise application. I like smaller brushes and to sort of build up and build out the color versus packing it all over my face with a giant brush. This is a brush that I have used so much that I literally have probably used it almost to death. And this is my Smith Cosmetics 112 brush. I have a couple of things to say about Smith. They're some of the best brushes I've ever used in my actual life. There's something about them, the shapes that they did, the style that they made them in. Everything about Smith brushes is beautiful. They are wonderful brushes. The handle is my favorite of any brush because it tapers into a nice fine point. Really comfortable, light to hold, comfortable in the hand. They're amazing brushes. This one is particularly my favorite as far as contour goes because I just find that because it's a natural hair brush, it applies my contour amazingly. Now, being that it is a natural hair brush, if you don't know what that means it is animal hair. If you're weird about that, you're probably not going to want to buy these. I'm weird about it, and I got these for free actually from the Smith team when I went to IMATS last year. They are the nicest people ever. I hung out with the owner of Smith Cosmetics when we went to IMATS, and we just connected. She is so kind. And yes, they gave me these brushes for free. These Smith brushes are amazing. If you feel weird about them being animal hair, like some of these are pony, some are goat, that threw me for a loop when I was looking them up. I guess I had never really thought about brushes being animal hair before, which I know is kind of ignorant in a weird way, but I just had never thought of that before. I was like, oh, animal hair. Huh. I know that I'm not completely cruelty-free or anything like that. I'm going to talk about that in the future very soon because obviously I need to make some changes. I have a lot of makeup that's not, and it's difficult, and I want to just don't yell at me, okay? I'm trying. You don't have to get this though. If you want, the Time LA brush that's totally synthetic can completely replace this and work just as well. I just have this and love it. Now, one negative about this brush is that it sheds like a motherfucker. It sheds more than any brush I've ever had. I don't know if it's just this one in particular because my bristles are starting to fall out and that is making it looser and then more bristles are coming out. Regardless of that, I still use it. I use it every time I do my makeup. For highlight, a brush that I absolutely love is the Sigma Tapered Highlighter Brush, the F35. This has been my favorite brush for years for highlight. I've switched a couple of times. I went to NYX for a while and I've switched back and forth, but there's something about this one I keep coming back to. The way it's tapered, the way it can precisely apply it or apply it large if you kind of hang it on its side. But if you kind of just take the tip, you can really concentrate the highlight or you can really blow it out by kind of running the entire length of the brush on your face. Amazing. And I really, 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 really love this brush. So for my eyebrows, my all-time favorite eyebrow brush, the one that you guys have seen me use for the last few years, I have not switched. I can't switch because there's no fucking reason to switch. And that is my Zoeva 317 Wing Liner Brush. Now I bought these in a rose gold set. So I'm going to talk about a few of them in this video. So when you see the rose gold Zoeva brushes, the only Zoeva brushes I own are from the rose gold set. But this one is my ride or die eyebrow brush. I lost this for like 6 months once and I wanted to cry because I had to use all these shitty brushes. This one is just so, so good. The shape of it, it's just different than every other wing liner brush I've ever tried. It's just better. I don't know how to explain it. I just freaking love it. And I believe they may be a mix of synthetic and natural as well, but a lot of brushes are, even on brands who claim to be cruelty-free, a lot of brushes from their lines are still animal hair, so look into that. To carve out my brows, I use the Sigma Flat Definer E15 brush. This is good if you need to fix your lip line or if you need to fix your brows because they're looking a little funky on the edge. All I do is just take a little bit of concealer on the brush and just run it right under, and it's nice because it's flat. And because it's flat, you can use its shape to your advantage. You can just run it right along that area and just make the perfect flat line, and anywhere you need to do that, right, whether it's along the contours of the lip, on the eyebrows, anywhere, this is an awesome brush and one I can't do without. Morphe has a similar one, but frankly I just prefer the Sigma one. When doing my eyeshadow, you guys, if you've been following me for any length of time, you'll know that the Sigma E40 Tapered Blending Brush is my absolute #1 brush I've ever used. Even more than my brow brush, okay? This one is irreplaceable to me. Nothing can replace this because it's the perfect brush. There's something about it that is so blendy. Nothing can blend my eyeshadow like the Sigma E40. Nothing. It was my first blending brush I ever bought, and I'm still using it to this day. That tells you the quality of Sigma. This brush is, you'll see as I'm applying my eyeshadow with it, you just circular motion blend it out. It's absolutely amazing. You can see how it just diffuses the color in a way that nothing can. This is really what you'd use for your transition shades, or if you want to take a color and really diffuse it out so that you're not getting a super concentrated block of color with a really harsh edge. That Sigma E40 is perfect for that. Another brush that absolutely I cannot do without is my Zoeva Luxe Soft Definer, the 227. You'll see me use this here where I'm placing a darker color into the crease, but I still don't want it to be absolutely precise. I want it to be a little more blended out, but not as blended out as the Sigma E40. Now this may seem redundant, but it's actually not. The Zoeva Luxe Soft Definer brush is one of my favorites, and it really just gets right into that crease, right into that outer corner, and you can really just wiggle it back and forth and get that color on there. Well, it's still diffused, but still deeper than if you were using an E40 and just blending the shit out of it. So next on my eyes, you'll see me go in with the 231 Zoeva Luxe Petit Crease Brush. And this one is where I go in with the deepest shade. I put it on and I just sort of blend it right into the crease. Because of the shape of this, it's so tapered that it really gets right into the crease in a really beautiful way. It's just an awesome product. It's so good at getting the color exactly where you want it, but still having a slightly blended edge to it. It's not too harsh. Some brushes you'll see, they just cause a straight edge, but this does not have that because it's still fluffy, but it's tapered, so it can really get into those little tight areas that you needed to get into. When I want to do a shimmer on my lid, I love to use the Smith 302 brush. This one is not meant for shimmers on the lid. It is, I believe, a lip brush, and it works beautifully for the lips. But if you want to put a shimmer on your eyelid, because of the shape of it being kind of curved at the top and having, it just fits so well into the contours of the eye that nothing comes close to it as far as putting shimmers on the eyelids. It's precise, it can get it right into that inner corner, and it just curves along with the contours of the eye. And so usually what I do is I spray it down with like MAC Fix Plus, or I spray it with some sort of setting spray, and I dip it into a shimmer shadow, and then I just run it right on the inner corner all the way up. You can see here I just sort of went halfway because I'm doing like a diffused out into a matte look, and it worked like a bounce. When I want to go in with a little bit larger of a brush that's not so precise but is still nice and flat, I go in with the Sigma Concealer Brush, the F70. This is the one I will either do the same thing as like with that Smith brush, but if I don't need it as precise, but you can still get pretty precise lines with this. This one is just so nice for patting on color onto the lid, especially shimmers. I wouldn't use this for mattes, there's really no point. You can use it for concealer if you want, but brushes don't have to be used for the purpose that they were made for. But this one I love to pat shimmers on the center of my lid, especially if I'm doing like a halo eye. And you can see here I'm patting on a little more bronzy color to sort of marry the matte in with the golden color that I put down, and it works awesome. For my lower lash line, I really love the Time LA 206 brush because this is a lot like my Zoeva Rose Gold brush. But if you don't want to get that, or it's hard to get because it's the UK, you can get this one, and it's awesome. It's very similar. It's absolutely not necessary to have the both of them. You want to know my favorite brushes? Well, this is one of them. It's a really, really, really good brush. I absolutely love it so much. It just fits right on my lower lash line, still diffuses it out, still blends it, but not too much. It's just perfect. Oh my God. If I want to get really close to my lower lash line and I want to get a dark color right up next to my lower lash line, some people use a brush like the Sigma Flat Definer Brush, the E15, like I did with carving out my brows. I like to use a little pencil brush, and this is a weird one. It's called a Scone Smudger Brush. I believe I got this in an Ipsy bag. It's really good. It gets right up there. The preferred pencil brush for me because it's smaller, it's tapered, it doesn't fray. It's just a really good brush. It's odd. It doesn't really fit in with any of the brands I'm using, but it's one of my favorites, and it's always been one since the second I got it. I was like, ooh, I'm gonna love you, and I do. Also for my lower lash line, I really, really, really love this Luxie 237 blending brush. When I got this, I was like, this is the brush I've always been wanting to have, but never could have. It's like floppy, and I don't know how to explain it other than it's floppy. It's floppy, okay? Quit saying floppy. It is, I almost said floppy again. Stop me. Almost flings around onto your eye, but in the direction you're trying to get it to fling into. I know how weird that sounds, but it makes a lot of sense. God, I'm sweating. The brush is just fantastic. It's just, there's something about the shape of it that's amazing. From what I understand, I believe Luxie brushes are also vegan cruelty-free. It's just an awesome brush. There's nothing else I can say other than I feel like it's a brush that Sigma is missing from their line. I think they have one like this, but I don't personally have it. Now I do in Luxie, and I love Luxie brushes. Luxie brushes are so high quality. They're amazing. For a brow highlight, I know this is weird, and I know that's not what this is meant for, but I can't seem to give 10 shits. This is the Sigma Lash Fan Brush. Now, what these are made for is working makeup artists who will dip into a mascara and then paint it onto the lashes instead of using like a spoolie mascara wand, the little disposable ones, because those are wasteful. What I'm using is I dip it into a shimmer shade, and for me, this shape just fits perfectly in the contours underneath my brow. It's the perfect brow shape for me. For that brow highlight, there's nothing better than this. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. If you want to be bouge, get a lash fan. For my eyeliner, I absolutely love the Smith 202 brush. There is nothing as tiny and precise and pointed and easy to use as this brush. If you're looking for a liner brush to go with gel or, you know, like little pot liners or the Tarteist clay paint liner, and these two in conjunction are my absolute favorite. I've used a lot of little pointed brushes before. I've used bent liner brushes. I've used Sigma's. Sigma's frays for me. This one has not frayed and it is so tiny. I've yet to find one as fine as this, and it makes a difference, girl. And finally, a lip brush that I love is the Smith 304 brush. This one is just really tiny. It can get right into the outer corners of the lips, especially if you're a working makeup artist. It's just an awesome little brush. This one isn't one I used all the time, but it is one I always bring with me just in case I need something really precise and tiny. I love this brush. It works amazingly well, and it just is a great lip brush in conjunction with the other Smith brush I talked about earlier for using for shimmer shadows. Those two are fire on the lips. They're amazing. And that is all of my favorite brushes. I hope this video was somewhat helpful for you in watching me apply the makeup and watching me talk about the brushes and what their purpose is for and how they work, and you guys can see them in action. I hope that was helpful for you guys. I've had a request for this video more than any video I think I've ever filmed. This is my most highly requested video I've ever done. So I hope that I did it justice by the way that I filmed it. And I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have not yet, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I put out new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Also give this video a thumbs up if you guys liked it. It lets me know what you guys like to see. Also let me know your favorite brushes. If you guys have a brush that you know like I have to try, please let me know, because I am always on the hunt for new things that are going to do me well. I got my favorites, but doesn't mean I can't get new ones, clearly. You guys can also follow me on all my other social media stuff. Everything is RawBeautyKristi. I thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you at my next video. Bye! Hey guys, Hey guys, today I wanted to do a video on all of my favorite, no. A lot of times you'll see people using a really big brush to pant, like people are panting. Just packing it all over my face with a giant brush. Fails. The only Zoeva brushes I own. And finally, the lip.